Jay here for Stretford Paddock, that's Joe Smith. This is Transfers Live, where we're going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United transfer news. And by gosh, is there a lot of it.
It's happening.
It's non-stop, man.
Calm down.
I can't keep up.
It's
1
happening.
minute. We've only just got Mbeumo through the door. The next thing we're in for Benjamin Sesko. We're just getting used to that idea before all of a sudden, Baleba comes out of the blue on a Wednesday evening. Almost like they knew Transfers Live was going to happen. You can't what?
Believe it.
What?
I can't believe it.
Very good, that. So we're going to be talking about Carlos Baleba. We're going to talk about Benjamin Sesko. What is the latest there? We're also going to be talking about some outgoings. And if that's not enough, even a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper we've been linked with over the last few weeks, and I keep saying, of all the stories that isn't going to happen, this isn't going to happen the most. Well, it's not going away. So we'll get into that. Make sure, though, before we do, I'm sorry?
Potential leg on your face. Carry on.
What?
Jay, carry on.
Sorry. Before we get into all that, though, make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe, and get involved in the comments. Adrian Pearce has already become a member. Welcome to the academy. There's extra content on the members section. We've got a behind-the-scenes vlog of our pre-season talk coming up on the members section next week. So if you are a member, we do appreciate you. You will get to see that stuff. Loads of people already in the comments. Loads of people watching. Let's have a like if you are doing.
So
let's get into it.
So exciting. Yeah. What's going on, man? Special hair.
They put Justin Bieber's hair on him.
Justin Baleba to Man United. That's a good pun and a good graphic. I have to give it to him. Producer, can please. Do you have anything to say? We've got a microphone for the producer, Ben, as well. Are you happy with yourself?
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, right, that's enough.
Right, yeah.
Turn that
Jesus
off.
wept.
Not really using that again. Bloody hell. Right, let's get into this then. Justin Baleba to Man United. Can everyone hear
Can't believe
me?
he did that. Why did you do that?
You know you can hear you. It's a microphone.
What was that?
He just panicked, Jay. He's never
that was his debut, and that was what he said.
Everybody hear me.
Right, that's enough now. No, what's Joe said to you?
That's enough. Right,
that's your fault for giving him a mic. I said it was a bad idea.
Yes.
I said this will end in tears.
Let's get into the graphic and we can discuss behind the scenes.
Right, okay.
Graphic full screen. I didn't know I was going to fuck it up, did I?
Did you not?
No, I didn't.
Well, you should have done.
Yeah.
Right, go on.
Man United contact Brighton via intermediaries to explore conditions of a deal for Carlos Baleba. This is according to Ornstein and The Athletic. And can you even believe it? Come back to me a second. Your friend of mine, Indy Kayla.
That is the most stunned I've ever been in the history of anything.
That was absurd.
I saw, right? You even said to me when I was looking at a tweet from Ornstein, is that the real David Ornstein account?
Yeah.
Because he did his tweet and then he went and replied to his own tweet with a reference tagging Indy Kayla in, which stunned me because I thought he was just a bloke who worked at KFC who spouted nonsense.
But he was, and he is.
He's now getting quoted by David Ornstein, so it's got to be something in that.
But
I mean,
to be fair though.
Yeah.
Well, let's read this first.
No, go on. You can't just say to be fair though, and then not finish that sentence.
We'd heard about it.
We had.
Hadn't we?
Yeah, we had.
You can say that now.
No, we had heard about it, and we've been told, like, just to let you know, keep it under your hat, but this is happening. Or this is, they're trying to make this happen, and we had. So, yeah, I'm guessing of people like me and you have heard about it.
Nicola went to KFC in America.
Right, so do you think that's where we got that info from?
All I'm saying is, I know for a fact.
No, you know what? I'm not
in Atlanta.
I'm not a hater for hating's sake. If he's broke the story, fair play to him. I just, it's only taken about 12 years of spouting drivel to get there, but he's got there. So well done to the lad. Go on then.
Let's do it. Man United contact Brighton by intermediaries to explore conditions of a deal for Carlos Baleba. The 21-year-old, who has 3 years left on his Brighton contract, is emerging as one of the most highly rated players in his position, and Brighton do not intend to sanction a sale this summer, but interest is building, and United among many suitors, which has now been relayed through go-betweens. Brighton made clear they do favour keeping hold of the Cameroon international, who is under contract until 2028, with an option to extend by 12 months for at least another year. There's also a recognition on all sides that a switch now may be unrealistic, especially if United seal their proposed move for RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko. Very, very interesting. And obviously, like I said, we'd heard rumours of this potentially being a thing, not in a way that we could kind of run it and go with it and kind of break this as anything, because you never 100%, and also you don't want to, burn any bridges anywhere. But it's still it's very shocking news to me. This when we first heard that, and me sort of thinking, no, this it's obviously a player that's going to cost a lot of money. It's obviously a player that is in a position that it seemed like United might be overlooking this summer. But the fact that we are A, willing to go in for someone of this magnitude, and B, wanting to do it now, is pretty amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've always thought that sort of this Project 2028, it was obviously a little bit more long term, and we're going to have to wait, and a few of these signings just to be ones for the future. But this is a signing who ticks both boxes in the sense that he is one for the future, and also can do a job right now if you to get him in. And me and you were chatting earlier, and it's like a lot of these players, I know Sesko, you could argue, okay, he's young, but even he's been around for a little while. He's been in the Bundesliga now, is it 2 seasons? Where he's been playing there for RB Leipzig, so he's not like a million miles away from being ready. Now you look at the likes of Mbeumo, you look at the likes of Cunha, they're Premier League ready. They've smashed it in the Premier League over the last couple of years. So if you brought in Baleba, then I'm not saying we're going to win the title straight away, but the team is almost ready for that. It doesn't feel like it's a work in progress. There's only 1 or 2 areas where you go, once we improve there, then we're at a title challenge. It does feel like a massive step forward. If you were to bring in a new front 3, 2 of whom have got loads of Premier League goals over the last couple of years, and then also bring in a proven Premier League midfielder who fits into the system and is exactly what we need. Carl Anker, I think we've done a social clip of it. We spoke about this when we had him in the studio last, and he had his his list of midfielders, and his dream midfielder was Carlos Baleba, and he explained why he wanted Carlos Baleba, why he thought he'd be perfect for Manchester United in the Ruben Amorim system. And it does feel like Ineos, for all their faults, and I've criticised them a little bit over the last few months, in the transfer market this summer, they're not messing about. If they go for him, then this is a massive move, and that is almost beyond my wildest dreams of what this transfer window would look like. I thought realistically we'll probably get Cunha. We knew, going into the window. Who do I think we'll get? Cunha, I think we'll probably get a striker. Maybe we'll bring in another midfielder or a defender. I didn't for 1 minute think we'll get Cunha and Mbeumo, a striker and Baleba. That seemed a little bit far-fetched to me, and it seems as though that's at least what we're trying to do. And all I ask from the owners, I don't expect owners to be magical because they're not, the Glazers are horrible, but all I want from Ineos is to at least try and make the effort to get Manchester United back to where we belong instead of just paying lip service. And at the minute, they're certainly doing that. There's loads of comments before I come back to you.
No, go on.
I will get them. James Kelland, welcome to the Academy. Andrew James, incredible start to the puns, rising to the occasion, hats off. Ranjit Samal says, these guys are great, no sign of any Nottingham Forest fans in disguise, UTFP. Bryce Jones says, still buzzing from seeing United live for the first time in Chicago. Hope you boys had a great time in the city. What was your favourite food? Joe, what was my favourite food?
What was your favourite food?
Yeah.
The barbecue in Atlanta.
Thank you. What was your favourite food in Chicago, or Chicago as it's known?
I don't remember what we ate in Chicago.
That pizza.
No. That pizza was good. Yeah, either the deep pan pizza or what was the chicken place called?
KFC.
No.
Alan's Fried Chicken.
Something hot chicken. Dave's Hot Chicken.
Dave's Hot
fantastic.
Chicken. Yeah. Adal Sameka says, or Samakia says, if we seal Baleba, I think you've got a message.
I message everyone on every platform. And
I've seen Joe messaging, and I can read him. If we seal Baleba, I'm gifting 20 memberships. I promise. I believe you. Big thank you to Ash K the other day as well, who gifted 50 Paddock memberships, which was fantastic. Sorry, there's loads of chats. I'm going to go into them all, and then I'll get to the other comments as well. Simon says, Ornstein to say we're in talks with Honey G next. Remember her? She blocked me on Twitter. There's one for you. Ross Murphy, couldn't have been a good start to transfers live. Or a better start, I think, would be appropriate. Wayne Davies says, if we got Baleba, would our window be better than the Scousers? Discuss. And he's been a member of the Academy for 55 months. You look at where we're coming from and where they're coming from. Like, they've just won a title and they've added some quality there.
Yeah.
We've just finished 15th and we're miles away from where they are. So it's relative, isn't it? It's a fair question, but it's relative.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
Adal Samekia, Oh no, it's another chat. Jay, Joe, what are the odds in your opinions we can get Baleba and a proper goalkeeper? Then assuming we do get those 2 players, when do we become a proper club again in your opinion? We'll get to the goalkeeper in a minute.
Good questions.
Lad called Adam McCullough has sent 10 Stretford Paddock memberships, gifted memberships. Good to see Macca.
Cheers, mate.
He's going to be here on Saturday, by the way, for the watch along for the Fiorentina game. Me, Joseph and Adam McCullough. So if you're not doing so already, make sure you are subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Loads of people saying something about Maka being in here. Lou says, I'm feeling ace. Now we've got Baleba, says Lou. Well, we'll see if
very
that
much
happens.
Early stages on the whole Baleba
just loads of
front, by
people
the way.
being really positive.
So can we talk about this a little bit? Because obviously Baleba as a player, we've spoken about him, but it's worth speaking again about him now that this is a genuine connection. So obviously, in terms of what kind of player he is, he's a very mobile, very front foot kind of defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
He's someone obviously that is quite a modern style of player where he's not just get the ball and 2-yard passer, it's beyond him, but he's by no means a sort of Luka Modric on the ball.
No.
That's not what he's there for. He's very athletic. He covers ground very well. He's someone. You look at him and Sesko as a two. Obviously, they don't interact with each other a lot on the pitch, but it's a profile of player that we don't really have. I think Sesko's 6'5". Baleba's a lot shorter than that. I think he's 5'11" or so. So he's not huge in terms of stature, but his physicality is very, very strong for his size, and he's someone that's very quick for his size. Again, Sesko is very tall, I think 6'4", 6'5", is very quick, is very strong as well. We're trying to add physicality and athleticism to the team. They're both very athletic players. And he's someone that can do a lot of the stuff that all of the midfield options we have can't really do. So he can cover Mainoo's weaknesses quite well. He can cover Bruno's weaknesses quite well. Even at times you might play him and Ugarte if you really just wanted to lock down a team. At times against City, I think under Ten Hag, we'd basically find a way to play 5 midfielders, wouldn't we? You'd play Bruno up front, you'd play Fred and Casemiro, or Fred and McTominay and Eriksen and... used to play, who else was it in there as well?
We threw Amrabat in towards the end.
We basically just stacked them. In certain games you might even play them together, but he's got the things that a lot of our other midfielders don't have, which is that just ground covering ability. Absolutely great on the front foot, very good defensively when he's tracking back to his own goal as well. Obviously, he's 21. He's not the best midfielder in the world right now, but he's someone that, potential-wise and what we've seen already, he's been very good for Brighton last season, already good enough to improve Manchester United. And as you said, if he continues to get better for the next 5 years until he hits his peak, you could have one of the best sort of all-round, all-action midfielders in the world, especially in that kind of deeper role. So, yeah, he's obviously hugely highly rated. But I think he's only been at Brighton for 1 year, isn't it? Which is obviously a bit of a concern because, players can come in occasionally, look phenomenal for a year, and then actually go, now he's properly being tested, he's not that good on the ball, and sometimes he is caught out of position, whatever it may be. That would be my only reservation, but otherwise it feels like such an exciting... Just the fact that we're going for this profile of player, whether it's Baleba or whether it ends up being someone else, for me is just so exciting. It's so impressive from the ownership, or the team, not so the owners, the team above the manager, that they've identified what we can all see, but so often it feels like in transfer windows, you think, why have we gone for him? Why haven't we got a DM? Why didn't we get a new striker? We all knew we needed more goals. We've literally, assuming Sesko comes in, and we'll get to that in a minute, completely revolutionised the front line. And then we needed a better midfield and a goalkeeper. Well, they're the other two team positions we're linked with. It's mad, isn't it? It's almost like worryingly competent.
It is worryingly competent. That's a good way of describing it. And one thing I like about the Baleba is not just does he bring his own qualities to the side that we need, he unlocks a midfielder next to him.
Yeah.
If you put him next to a Kobbie Mainoo can do what he does best. If you put him next to even a Casemiro, whose legs aren't what they used to be, he can do what he does best. He's still got a pass on him, Casemiro. He's still capable of getting you goals as well and very dangerous set pieces. If Bruno has to drop deep and he doesn't have to do all the donkey work, then you've got someone like Baleba alongside him. Bruno can maybe be that player that he has been in glimpses in a deeper role. So I just feel like it'd just be a massive step forward. I don't want to get carried away because of all the transfer links so far, this is the one that's been a little bit more tentative in terms of whether it's actually going to happen. But there is a little bit of fire to that smoke. Loads of people in the chats, loads of people saying, John Edmiston says 21 is coming. User Raheem says, is any of this bluff to make Barcode United and other clubs panic buy and spend all their money? I think they try to spend all their money, but they can't. Deed says sell Collier. I don't know if that's going to help move the needle, to be honest with you. But Brian McDonald says, looks Collier go to Brighton for Baleba. So that's a couple of people suggesting that. Maybe there is something in that with money and stuff. I don't know. I remember when Newcastle wanted Keith Gillespie and gave us Andy Cole as part of the deal.
Yeah, they'd probably take Keith Gillespie again now, wouldn't
Newcastle.
they?
I think they'd take anyone, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
no disrespect to Andy Langer, because obviously he's a good young player, but they've had a stinker, haven't they, Newcastle, so far in this window.
Yeah.
It's not just the fact that they haven't really bought the players that they probably need to. It's the fact that they've been linked with so many players. Looks like they're going to get him, and then United have got him.
It's almost like, and I don't remember the fine details of the Isak and Gomeres and Tonali transfers that much, but it feels like any time anyone else wants the player as well, they go to the team that isn't Newcastle. Like, I think Mark Gay was one that was mentioned that Newcastle were desperate for all summer, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then they didn't get him in the end. I don't think he's gone anywhere yet either. But they didn't get him. They wanted Elanga in January and didn't get him. Then they've gone for Cunha. He's come to United. Then they wanted Mbeumo. He's come to United. Then they wanted Sesko. Looks like he's coming to United. That's just 3 that United have nicked off him. I think they were also interested in a couple of other players that have gone elsewhere in Europe as well. Like, they're just getting absolutely spanked by everyone at the minute, aren't they? And it is somewhat hilarious.
It's very hilarious because they go on all arrogant, don't they?
Yeah.
It surprises me because it's 1 trophy in 60 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then when they link with a player, automatically they'll be linked with him, and then they'll just start trolling everyone, going, United thought they were going to get Sesko, now we're getting him. Or United thought they were going to get Mbeumo, that's not going to happen.
Ekitike was the other one.
Yeah. And they'll go on and on about it, and then have this epic meltdown when it transpires they're not going to get the player they thought they were going to get. Yeah. It's just proper odd behaviour. And this whole thing, this narrative that they're trying to build of... I think it was Alan Shearer on radio, but it was being filmed. I don't know what station he was on, but he was basically saying, why would anyone go to Man United? I think, what the fuck are you on about? We're still the biggest club in England. We're still the biggest club in Britain. We're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've still got 76,000 fans through the gate every week. We've still got plans for a 100,000 seat stadium. We've still won more Premier Leagues than anyone else has ever won. We've still got a very good squad with some potentially world-class players and some players you could argue actually are world-class. It's not like Manchester United are just a small little amateur club from Salford that no one's heard of and no one ever want to go to. And also, when it comes to wages, I know we aren't paying the top end of wages like we used to, but we're competitive. Yeah. You're not going to come to United and not get well paid. So this whole thing about why would anyone go to Manchester United? If you look at the history of Manchester United Football Club and look at even through our dark times, what we've achieved and the amount of crowds we get and the trophies we win, and then you look at someone like Newcastle. Newcastle's dark times was being in the second tier of English football, winning sod all and kicking about for decades without winning anything. United's dark times was what? 1 season out of the top flight, 50 years ago? And then our awful spell post-Fergie, we've won what? A European trophy, 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, whatever it is. Yeah. He finished second a couple of times. Even our dark times are better than most clubs' good times. Yeah. So this whole nonsense about why would anyone go to United, read a book. Also, Satiri Sots Gio says, anyone else concerned that we're going for players when someone else mentions them? Newcastle seen on Sesko, we go for Sesko. Rio mentions Baleba, we go. I think it's more a case of we were already going for those players rather than... I don't think Newcastle went, we want Sesko, and then Wilcox went, who are Newcastle after? Quick, let's go and try and get Benjamin Sesko. As Andy Mitten said on this channel while we was in Chicago, we've been looking at Sesko for about 4 years. Yeah. This has been a long-term target for Manchester United.
I can almost certainly guarantee you that Rio Ferdinand mentioning Carlos Baleba didn't make United then think to buy Carlos Baleba. Let me just put it that way.
I think if that was the case, and I like Rio Ferdinand, he's a great guy and an absolute legendary footballer, but if that was the case, then that would be mental.
Yes.
If we went, what's Rio said? Ring Brighton now. Yeah. Get on the phone.
You could maybe even flip that on its head, potentially.
And say that Rio Ferdinand heard we were getting Carlos Baleba and then decided to say something about it.
Who knows?
Which would make a lot of sense.
It would make more sense than the
other way around. Vinay Navneet says, can't wait for You Made Me a Baleba chance at Old Trafford.
To the tune of You Made Me a Believer, but what is that song?
In it, I know I saw her face, now I'm a believer. Isn't it that?
Well, that is a song, but it's not that.
It's Imagine Dragons.
It's an Imagine Dragons
I don't know
song.
Imagine Dragons. Do you know how it goes? Do you know how it goes?
I'm not going to sing into the mic.
Well, he's going to sing into the mic to make up for last time.
You can redeem yourself.
Right, cut to producer cam and sing into the mic.
Go on.
Why is there so many cables between you and the camera? What's going on?
Can you not just sing Imagine Dragons for us? Go on.
He's not done it. He's bottled it. Right.
I thought he was going to do that.
I thought he was as well.
Right, let's move on to the next one.
It was going to be beautiful.
You've ruined it for
This
everyone.
is very much linked with each other, these two, because obviously they both come out today. So we need to mention a little bit on Baleba when we get to the end of this. Let's do it, sorry. We've got Benjamin Sesko. We've got Benjamin Sesko
rejecting the pies. Do you know why this is elite?
Go on.
This is absolutely top tier. I'll tell you why, Joseph.
Go on.
It's this little piece here.
Because magpies.
That is top tier.
What do you have to say for yourself?
From a 9 to a 10.
What do you have to say for yourself, Ben?
Huh?
Fuck, he's fucking ruined it again. Unbelievable. What is
I might put my dog on that seat next week. And I'll get more sense out of
How can
her.
the same person that came up with this be doing
forget
this?
how to talk.
Unthinkable. Sorry, everyone.
Right, go on, have another go. What would you like to say, Ben?
How do you feel after that? After we've just Praise that.
Oh my
I just
God,
think
he's-
it was our tour anthem, wasn't it? So
It was. So for
Well
anyone who
done.
hasn't seen it, it's that clip of the Newcastle fans all dressed up, all silly, singing that song about how Ronaldo's
So
going to be cleaning
they've
the
donned
boots.
themselves in what they think is Saudi Arabian attire.
Yes.
That's what they've done.
Sort of
Yeah.
joke shop Saudi
they
Arabian
put,
attire.
Like the sort of what they would imagine.
I think
people in
they've got
Saudi
stick-on
Arabia-
moustaches
Yeah,
and
Saudi
all
Arabia
sorts.
would wear. Then they're singing about Lionel Messi selling the pies or Ronaldo cleaning them or whatever.
Cleaning the boots.
Yeah, because they're so
Cleaning
rich.
the pies.
They don't need.
They'll
you know,
have the best players in the world doing, odd jobs around the club.
When the reality is, they've got Benjamin Sesko rejecting the pies, the magpies.
That's
Very good.
fantastic.
Well
One of the
done.
best puns you've ever done.
I think that's 10 out of 10 so far.
Yeah, it's unbelievable
I do.
actually. Hell of a
It is.
start.
It is. It's really good.
I'm not going to put it down to spending 2 weeks in close proximity to me, but
I'm glad you're not because it wouldn't be
And
anything to do that.
I'm just saying that I'm not
No,
going to put
because
it down
that
to
would be
But
completely
obviously,
irrelevant
since Ben was on
to
the tour,
anything that's happened here.
No, sure.
Right?
Let me finish. But since Ben was on the tour, something has changed, hasn't it, for the
His
better?
ability to speak on a microphone has changed.
That's
I think
gone
that
away.
might be rubbing off from you. Come on then, you can talk us through this.
Clean your pie in a minute.
Clean my pie. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Right, this is according to everyone. Benjamin Sesko has reached a total agreement with Manchester United on personal terms. This morning, we were just linked with Benjamin Sesko. Or no, as of last night, sorry, we were just linked with Benjamin Sesko. Then all of a sudden, Manchester United not only are linked, we have basically entered with a bid. Then we have agreed terms as of this morning. It's absolutely barreling towards sort of full details and full deal done here. Let me just read this tweet from Fabrizio Romano. Benjamin Sesko has reached total agreement with Manchester United on personal terms, contract until 2030. Sesko wants to join United. Clear feeling revealed yesterday here. Never gave similar indication to other clubs. On! Club-to-club talks with Leipzig continue. This is an update later on in the afternoon. You can see they're 1:34 p.m. Manchester United and RB Leipzig indirect talks again to adjust fee package and add-ons, trying to get it done ASAP. Follows Sesko's decision to join Manchester United, as revealed last night, with personal terms agreed. Sesko will train separately until the deal is done, ready to fly.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we were talking to the press back just before we flew back. We were talking about United and transfers, and speaking to a few people. It was just like us having a chat about United's transfer business this summer and about Sesko, and everyone was sort of saying the same thing: is that the weird thing, or the reason that you might think there's something in the Sesko deal that United feel pretty confident, is that there seems to be this policy now with Ineos of going to the player or the player's agent, finding out if the player is definitely keen on United, and then trying to make the move happen that way round, rather than going to the club and going, can we have him, and then finding out if the player wants to come to United.
Frankie de Jong.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw it with Mbeumo, where he was only keen on coming to Manchester United. He didn't want to stay at Brentford. He didn't want to go to Spurs. That sort of poured cold water on the Spurs move straight away. He was like, I ain't going there, even if Thomas Frank's the manager, so forget it. And that stopped Spurs really going for him, I think, to be fair. He wanted to come to Manchester United, and United felt pretty confident that if we could get a deal done with Brentford, the player was already set to come. And it feels the same with this one. It feels like United have spoke to Sesko's people. They've said, look, he will come to Manchester United. There was also talk as well of that he's got some kind of agreement with RB Leipzig that he can go to certain clubs if certain sort of stipulations or if certain amounts are met in terms of a transfer. And United was one of those clubs because I think it was it 3 or 4 years ago he was linked with us, and he kind of said, I ain't ready for Old Trafford yet, which I admire because I think he's probably right, because we've seen what happened with Rasmus Hojlund, who probably came a little bit too soon. Yeah. So this gives me a little bit of confidence with this deal. And Romano this morning, obviously, saying that the clubs, the club and Sesko, United and Sesko, have more or less agreed on it. So now it's just getting a deal done. Also, as well, if you go to a player and you want them and you know what their value is going to be, it would be crazy to try and get the player to agree to it all, then go to the club and go, well, we ain't got the money to buy him anyway. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What do you reckon?
No, I completely agree. And you know what? For once, we're actually doing stuff that makes a bit of sense. And we're using our size and our history and our pulling power in a positive way. Not just to get more retweets on social media and brag about that. We're doing it to get our transfer targets and moving on from players who don't want to join us. Now more than ever, Manchester United need players who want to be here. Because the one thing and the biggest thing that Amram has got to change at the club, obviously we need better players. That's without question. Every club needs better players, especially one that's just finished 15th. But almost as big as getting better players in is correcting the atmosphere and the feeling at Manchester United amongst the squad, amongst the coaches, amongst the owners, amongst the fan base, amongst the media. Making Man United be a team that is all pulling in the same direction is Amorim's biggest job.
Yeah.
And to do that, the bare minimum is players who want to be there. And this is a great way to test that. You can go to players and say, will you hold out for a Manchester United move? And if they say yes, we can do what we did with Mbeumo, which is wait a little bit, and we can not allow pressure from other clubs to make us do spontaneous and silly things. For instance, when we heard that rumour that Tottenham had put in a bid north of 70 million plus for Mbeumo, like 70 to 75, whatever, that we didn't have to pull the trigger and go, oh, we'll beat that, here's 80, like we would have done in the past. Instead, we went, no, it's 65 plus 6. Yeah. Yes, that tickles over 70, but we're not going to do this 70 million upfront stuff that we said we weren't going to do. With Benjamin Sesko, you could easily imagine a world where we saw Newcastle put one bid in of 65 plus 5, a second bid in of 75 plus 10, whatever it was, and we go, oh shit, he's going to go there, here's 80 plus 10. Yeah. Or 90 plus 10, whatever it may be that we've done in the past. I think with Anthony, we're bidding against ourselves. It's carnage.
That was one of the worst transfers ever in terms of the way we went about it, the price we ended up paying, and how we got to the point of paying that price.
It's absurd.
One of the reasons was because Ajax had a load of money that we'd given him for Lisandro Martinez. Yeah. It was just bonkers. So yeah, I completely agree, and it's quite scary what's going on at United, because it's like you said earlier, it's like a lot of competency, which doesn't sit well with the job. I want last minute signings for positions we don't really need, for players that don't want to be here, not filling in all these gaps that need filling with top quality players.
Just one last thing.
No, please do. But before I get
just on that point of doing that, Real Madrid do this as well, and they do it better than anyone. They do it to the point where they can get players who should be 100 million quid to run down their contracts and turn up for free, like Kylian Mbappe. They were trying to do it with Euro. And we got in and actually said, no, you're not going to do this. But they'll establish a player wants him, and
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is another one.
I know he's not 100 million before anyone jumps down the throat.
No, but they spent 10 million to get him 3 weeks early.
But he would have been a big chunk of change, wouldn't he? He's one of the most highly rated full-backs or wing-backs in the world. Yeah. So it would have been obvious.
And they do this a lot. They rely on their pulling power to limit the price for players or even get players for free. And we've never seemed to do this. And obviously, we're not doing it with the most established 28, 29-year-old superstars in the world. We're not prizing, Yamal away from Barcelona. But it's allowed us to have a very successful transfer window this summer. And I think it's so smart. Establish they want to join, use United's pulling power, and then get the bid done. Never do it the other way around. I mean, obviously, it's taken us 10 years since Sir Alex left to work this out. But, yeah, really smart. And not that we've got him for 30 million, we've not got some mad deal, but we've allowed another team to basically negotiate on our behalf, a team with less kind of, pressure on them to spend loads of money, and less, United tax or Newcastle United tax than we've got. I think it's really smart.
No, I do, and I like the fact that, players want to come to United and believe they can be a success at United. I think one of the points Shea was making, players come to United and they crumble or whatever, and they fall. But these players obviously don't think they're going to do that, and Mbeumo doesn't think he's going to do that. It sounds like Sesko doesn't think he's going to do that. And if you're a top draw player, top quality player, and you go to a club like United, under Amorim with some of the players we've brought in around him, then there's every reason to believe you can be a success. So you should back yourself. I'll get some more chats. Ivan Pradan, welcome to the Academy as a new member. Also, I think Akash K is in the chat as well. So big thank you to him for gifting 50 memberships the other day. Danny Shields, member of the First Team 55 Mums, says, if the reveal of Sesko signing isn't set to the theme of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, then we failed as a club. Youssef says, I don't know the answer to that.
Carry on.
Sorry. Youssef says, here we go, Danny Ings to Newcastle. Iceman says, Joe, give Jay a kiss on his shiny head for me, because we're mad with these two signings. Are you going to give me a kiss? Go on. I thought you were going to go full, was it Laurent Blanc?
That made a crazy noise.
I thought you were going to go full Laurent Blanc. Fabian Bard says that. Give me a proper kiss on my bonds, but I'll take a slap on my head instead.
No, it was a kiss.
Oh, was it a little...
It was a kiss pat. Made right noise.
Felt more like an assault than a kiss.
Sorry, Jay, sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It did make more of a sort of cracking noise than I expected.
If I start staggering and falling over, don't worry about it. It's just because Joe's giving me a concussion.
Apologies.
Aaron Moore says, Jay got blopped. What's a mad slap, says Ross Murphy. Anyway, enough about my slap.
Sorry, everyone. I actually didn't mean to.
It's okay. Sorry. It's fine. We're all friends. We're all giddy because we're going to make loads of signings. Right. Let's talk about some outgoings.
Okay. And then we'll get back to some incomings, promise?
Yes.
Great. AC/DC 30 mil and that. What? ACD easy 30 mil and that.
I get the AC. No, I don't.
I get AC/DC.
Yeah, but why?
And what's
AC Milan, right?
Yeah.
So it's AC Milan.
But
and
what's
then-
the 30 mil in that?
Well, that's to get the Milan bit in, and we can get an easy 30 mil for it.
Yeah, but what's that? How does that relate to the ACDC?
AC for AC Milan.
AC
DC.
DZ 30 mil, like an AC DZ 30 mil.
So it's ACDC, right? And then the 30 mil in that is not part of the ACDC as
No,
a pub.
it is.
Right,
Because it's easy 30 mil in that. So
Yeah.
it's AC/DZ 30 mil.
right,
But it isn't part of the AC/DC pun, no.
right. Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
I thought there was an ACDC 30
Like,
millilitres
they had an
or
album
something.
called 30 mil.
Yeah, that's what was confusing me.
No.
Don't be silly.
No, don't be silly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't be silly
Sorry,
to assume that it
this-
might work as a full piece.
Yeah, it might work as one sentence.
After the first two as well.
It's genius. You just don't understand.
Yeah,
You
right.
just-
Cut
yeah.
that mic off, please.
I
AC
swear.
Milan's interest in signing Hojlund from United has now been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Among Iglitier's first words, what, they employed a baby? They've literally got a baby as sporting director. What the fuck? Look at this. Among Iglitier's first words. What the hell? I know Italian football ain't got the money it used to, but they literally employed fucking toddlers as sporting directors. Right, he spoke about the need to bring in a new centre forward to partner. It's fucking smart for a baby. To bring in a new centre forward to partner Santiago Jimenez, someone who offered something a bit different to the Mexican. In a video on his YouTube channel, Fabrizio Romano gave an update on the situation related to Hojlund and confirmed that he could leave Old Trafford with Milan watching things closely. Hojlund could leave. I've always told you how he wanted to stay and fight for a place in the team, but if Manchester United were to sign a top-class striker like Sesko, then Hojlund could really leave the club. Not just leave, really leave.
To be fair, that's what Laurie was saying a few weeks ago, wasn't he?
Correct.
He was saying it was probably more likely that Hojlund went than stayed. So the only sort of reason that he could see him staying is if United didn't buy a striker. But as we've just discussed, it looks like we're going to get Benjamin Sesko. You want him to stay, don't you, even if we get Seskas?
If we get
Seskas.
Seskas. It's not a case of like, I'm desperate for Hojlund to stay. We need two strikers. We can't just have one. I've said it a million times. It'd be ridiculous to just have Sesko, and then when he gets injured, you're back to playing the 17-year-old up front, which I just don't think is fair on Cheeto or good enough for Manchester United right now. Or you're bringing out Mbeumo from his natural position to, you're having to fiddle around with things. You need two strikers. You need twice as many players for each position. That's just standard minimum football. You need at least two. And maybe you get a couple of backup players who can middle around a little bit. But the idea of just having Benjamin Sesko as the only proper number 9 at the club, that's just silly to me. Do you not agree?
The only reason I do, sort of.
Okay.
I'll explain myself because my worry with this is you've got a player who is struggling, man.
True.
He is. And like I've stuck up for, I don't even particularly rate him that highly, but I've stuck up for him because the amount of grief he gets in the ground, the amount of grief he gets online, and I don't think he's a bad egg, or a bad apple, I should say, bad apple. I think he's trying. He is trying his best to be a success at Manchester United. I just don't know if his best is good enough. And I think if we go out and buy another striker who's about the same age as him for 80 million quid, which is 80 million euros, pretty much what we paid him, to drop him, I don't know how effective he's going to be when Sesko gets injured and you're relying on Rasmus Hojlund again. I don't mind the idea of two strikers. I just don't know if one of them should be Rasmus Hojlund if you brought in a replacement for him, basically.
Yeah.
I think it might even make more sense to go out and get an experienced striker on a free or whatever. I'm not sure, and I hope he proves me wrong. That's my only concern. My other concern is if we are, let's just say it's a magical, wonderful world where we can get Baleba, but we need to sell some players. Do we have to sacrifice someone?
In
like
that case, I
Hojlund?
would be up for it.
Yeah, because I don't know how the
mind
maths
that.
work with everything. And it might be a case of we can get Baleba and keep Hojlund and get Sesko, okay. But if it is like, well, we need to sell someone, and Milan go, we'll give you 30 million that for him, and United go, well, I can get Baleba over the line, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I
Because
completely agree with that.
But I understand your point, because it would be a proper Manchester United for Sesko to get injured early doors, and all of a sudden you scramble around. However, the other caveat I will add is that I think there is a possibility that you could make a front three of Xerxes, Cunha and Mbeumo work. It would look slightly different, and you haven't got an out-and-out 9, but maybe you can make that work.
Yeah.
If you had maybe even Xerxes a little bit deeper and them two kicking on. I think Steve mentioned that as well. Let us know what you think. Adam McCullough's liking the 30 mil and that. Bilal MUFC says, get him gone.
Get him gone.
Get him gone. Never mind today, just get gone. Danny Shields has explained the Deep Space Nine reference. He says the captain on Deep Space Nine is Benjamin Sesko. Well, that's as close as it can
That's
get, really.
outrageous, actually.
Tally Soul Delphine says, do you think that Sesko's addition, do we become contenders to any silverware this season? Don't you think we still lack a first-class goalkeeper? We're going to get to that in a second.
We were contenders for silverware last season. We got to the Europa League final.
Yeah.
We certainly contended for silverware, and we were shit.
We need to get into the Champions League. Diaz says, don't mind Hojlund for one more season. Think we can get the same amount if we sell next year, particularly if the team as a whole is playing better. That's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Deadman, it says, Xerxes the fighting spirit, not a striker. Unreliable Dorhin says, sell Ras, Vardy on a 3. I'm not into that one, to be honest with you. Omar Jet says, Jay, what baby oil brand do you use for your shiny head? I don't, it's just natural.
It's just
glow.
natural macassar, isn't it?
It's that natural sweat from your hand when you levered me
I didn't mean to leather you.
earlier on. Rybags986 says, we got Obe. Daniel Berry says, if we get Baleba and Sesko, second half of the season, we're going on a title charge, he says, in big capital letters.
Right.
Go on.
Let's all calm down.
No.
Because I know for a fact that the next story we're about to click on is really going to make things... I feel at the minute we're just getting ahead of ourselves. Signing players we're never going to sign. It's crazy. Let's just bring us back down to earth a bit, please, producer Ben. Fucking hell.
This makes me uncomfortable.
Does it? Why?
I don't know. Is it all right, that? Are we okay, eh?
I think it's just about all right.
Yeah.
I think it's so absurd
Right, okay.
that it's all right.
Okay, thank you.
And his name is Gianluigi.
Yeah, all right.
Which
Okay.
helps.
Yeah, that is Luigi.
We're not just
obviously.
comparing him to any Italian.
Yeah, okay. Thank
It's
you.
a specific
I'm glad you cleared that up.
one
for
who
me.
has the same name.
The last thing we want to do is offend any of our Italian viewers. Yeah, I get it. Luigi from Super Mario. This is obviously Gianluigi Donnarumma. So yeah, go on. What's that say?
Like Gianluigi's new mansion is also a fantastic pun. Because there's a game called Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Right, very good. Very well done.
It
back
works.
in the game
It works.
after
I
the
can't say it
debacle of the
doesn't work.
AC/DC nonsense. Yeah,
Well
much better. That's 3 out of 4 that have been very good
I
tonight.
can't argue with it.
Yeah.
In recent weeks, it was revealed that PSG and the goalkeeper have failed to find common ground in their renewal negotiations. And with the Italian's current contract expiring next summer, Donnarumma, of course, his future at the club is anything but certain, especially with the European champions acquiring a ready-made replacement, Lucas Chevalier. Man United are preparing to launch an offer worth £26 million for the Euro 2020 hero. This figure might be deemed sufficient given that the player's contract will expire in less than a year. The thing with Donnarumma is, I feel like he was absolutely astonishing when he was a teenager. Was it like 16, 17, he was like first choice for Milan? It was something
stupid.
absurd. Then he went through a spell where I thought his reputation had actually outgrown his quality. And a lot of times when I saw him, I thought, it's amazing that he's playing first team at 18, 19, 20, but actually when I watch him, he's not by any means the finished article. Even when he first went to PSG, I thought, I see mistakes in him, he looks a bit sloppy at times. This last Champions League run, which again, not that we've ever bought a keeper on a good Champions League run before.
No.
Onana. But, just in case anyone got
I'm glad you clarified
I know you
that.
got it. He was astonishing. Some of the saves he was making in those games against, was it Liverpool, was it Arsenal as well?
Yeah.
Was it Villa? Like in the final, he was just amazing. Like it felt like he just couldn't be beaten anywhere in the goal. And you think, that's kind of what we've been lacking so much with Onana. I think at times when you watch him, he dilly-dallies on the ball a little bit too much. But obviously he's a fantastic goalkeeper and one of the biggest names in the sport. I just don't feel as though we're being used for anything other than a way to get more money from PSG.
I've said this ever since this story popped up, that I didn't think it was going to happen. I still don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we'll be able to match his wages. I don't think we're doing those kind of wages anymore. And no disrespect to Stray News, I know the founder of it, Dale O'Donnell's a pal of mine. If they broke this story, well, they were the ones that had the info that no one else did, because they're more news aggregators than actual breaking story. They do have their own sort of journalists as well. But yeah, I think unless it's one of the big boys that are coming out of it, the Indy Calliers of this world, then I'm not gonna think this is gonna happen.
Would you want him? Let's say it is for loads of money.
It's a step up from Onana. I mean, Onana, perversely, and I know I probably sound contradictory because I think a few months ago I was sort of sticking up for Onana and backing him. But the more we sign top tier players, the more I think if we fix the goalkeeper issue, we could actually challenge for a title. If we got to a place where we had Baleba and we had Sesko and we had Cunha and we had Mbeumo and we had Bruno Fernandes and some of the other players we've got as well who I actually really rate, like Martinez and Yoro and De Ligt, you go, actually, one game a week with this 11 wins the vast majority of its football matches. However, if you've got a goalkeeper that has been patchy at best, can you win a title? Most title-winning teams have a reliable goalkeeper. Even if the goalkeeper's not top tier, like Kasper Schmeichel or Tim Flowers, for me, were never like unbelievable goalkeepers, but they won a title because they were relatively reliable and they give you a 7 out of 10 more often than not, which is all you need. With someone like Onana, sometimes he'll drop a 2 or a 3.
Stinker.
Yeah.
He's got a stinker in him.
And I think Donnarumma would definitely be a step up. I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either.
I
do see us potentially going for a goalkeeper though, especially if we deem the Baleba deal to not be doable. I think I could see us getting maybe a cheaper centre mid and maybe a cheaper goalkeeper for the price of what Baleba would be if that deal can't happen. Just on the Baleba thing, as far as I think piecing things together, I think Sesko is the last player we could afford without sales.
Right, okay.
I think from what we sort of have heard here and there, and also what is public, and I'm not claiming like I know anything, but I think the idea was we were sort of hiding how much we had to spend for the Sesko deal.
Yeah.
I think once that's done, it will require Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony, maybe like you said, one of Onana or Hojlund or I don't know, Xerxes, or someone that maybe a Dallo, someone that's a bit surprising, but also you kind of get it in order to then get Baleba and potentially a goalkeeper. So I think for any of these, it's going to be after sales, after a midfielder, then we might look at a keeper.
The thing as well with Baleba is, like you mentioned there, it's like it's not an immediate we need to make this deal happen right now. Yeah. It's like, okay, let's see what the numbers are looking like. Let's see. You'd imagine there's some indication that the player would move to Old Trafford. Yeah. So you say, okay, what are Brighton asking? How do we make those numbers work? There is potentially, you're going to have to wait a year. Obviously, we don't want to do that. We want him now. Yeah. We're anxious to sign a midfielder. So we could make it work by selling like a Garnacho, the players you mentioned, Sancho, Anthony, and then one of maybe a Hojlund or a Mount, or I don't know, someone who's going to bring in 30 million quid maybe, then who knows. Thomas Toke Engine says, well done lads on the US tour coverage, great to see you so close to the team, brilliant content, should all be super proud, UTP.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone in America as well who met up with us, who chatted to us, everyone who supported the channel from anywhere really as well. It was great to see, and it's always like, it just shocks me really when you go so sort of almost like the other side of the world and people watch you and know about you and like what you do and appreciate it, and it was really heartwarming.
Also,
sorry, go on.
No,
go on.
Apologies as well that we couldn't do any lives while we were out there. That's the only thing that we weren't able to do that we wanted to, just because for some reason everywhere that we stayed, the download speeds on the internet were great, but the uploads were terrible and inconsistent.
No,
so apologies that we didn't get to do any more of that, because that's with the brew and the podcast stuff, that would have been nice, but unfortunately we couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, at first I thought you were talking about live shows, which is another thing we want to try and do when we're over there. One of the reasons we didn't is because we were going to events where Wes Brown and Andy Mitten were already there. We were just sort of meeting up with fans as fellow fans, meeting fans, not like, as a Stretford Paddock event or anything like that. But we would like to do a live event, and like Joe says, we always try, us, we always try and mix up the content, but it just wasn't to be. But I'm sure, as people have mentioned, that there was loads of good content out there. I thought we spoke to the people we wanted to speak to. Yeah. We did more podcasts together as well as the four of us, so we really enjoyed it. Make sure you're hitting that like button as well, please, people. Over 4,400 people watching. We're yet to get to 1,000 likes. So Youssef says John O'Shea, and then one of those Onana. Remember when John O'Shea went in goal at White Hart Lane? Yeah. Kept a clean sheet. Listen, if Onana is going to be our goalkeeper, and it looks like he's going to, I will get behind him, and I hope he does prove us all wrong. He's going into his third season now, so that has happened before with players. It's just, it is a little bit worrying, isn't it? Yeah. Especially when we haven't really got a proper number 2. You was mentioning it the other day. Yeah. You said Sergio Romero used to be great as a number 2 because he was top tier. Yeah. He won the Europa League, didn't he? Playing the final and
played it, the whole thing.
Yeah, playing the whole thing. Sorry, you could rely on him. I don't feel like Onana's challenged because I think Bayern Day, even though I like him, has got one in him. Tom Eaton as well, who is a very popular guy, and we've spoken to him on the channel, and he's obviously got that experience. But he's probably a little bit old to be your number 1 goalkeeper if you're trying to push towards a title challenge. So it is just a bit of a weird and not great situation that Manchester United find themselves in. Andrew Brown says, yes, Agent Euro. I think that might be a reference to Euro and...
Baleba playing with each other at Lille.
Yes.
We've also got Mbeumo and Onana, who play with him in the Cameroon international team.
They're having a little bit of a... I thought that one that Onana was whispering in Mbeumo's ear, and maybe, maybe they can do the same for us with Carlos Baleba.
Maybe.
Joe, always a pleasure. Even though you did assault me, I forgive you.
Apologies for that.
It's all right.
Is there any markage? No, unscathed.
No, unscathed. Producer Cam, you can put your producer Cam. Well done today. Excellent, all of you, with the puns.
You happy with yourself?
Yeah, I was just going to say thanks for taking me on the tour, and thanks to everyone that met up with us on the tour.
He was very popular on the tour.
Ben. He was.
Yeah,
a few people came over to me and said they met producer Ben. He was a really nice lad.
Yeah.
So he is.
A few people said other stuff as well, but we'll leave it at that. Well done, Ben.
That's a Salford in him.
You were fantastic.
Benjamin Toppin, who we did meet on the tour as well. Remember chatting to him in Atlanta. Says, loved meeting you guys in
yes,
Atlanta.
Ben.
Best
It was great,
window
that.
in a decade. Hopefully our defence is better this year and our keeper isn't as exposed.
There's a few people that we've met in real life who you know them from the channel and from the chat.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
I love how me and you were more giddy about meeting Benjamin Toppin than he was about meeting us.
Well, the maddest thing is he's not even called Benjamin Toppin.
No.
He's called Ben Toppin.
Yeah. He when he said introduce himself, me and you were like, oh my god,
yeah, this is great.
It was class.
Yeah.
No, it was really good, and feel very, very grateful for all the support and love we get. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to have the news in the morning. Who knows? United have probably bought someone else by then, or put a bid in for someone else. Then we're going to have our mates coming back in. Your mate
Who?
and mine, Nathan Salt.
Sodium chloride himself. Yeah.
He's going to come in. So we're going to be chatting to him. We're going to have Stephen Howson on the channel for Off the Bar. So make sure, if you're not doing so already, you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Go and check him out on Sloppy Joe's. You know where to find me as well. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Moy. This has been Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.